Chief Operating Officer for the Center for Education Safety.
Awesome. And would you be able to, or sorry, you did spell that out, my bad. So just to kind of kick this off, what kind of trainings for threat assessment and threat management did educators in attendance learn today at the summit?
For the last 2 days, we've really been focused on everything from prevention models to how to respond in a more effective manner, how to identify the threats at their earliest inception, and then have the ability to actually bring a multidisciplinary team of educators and counselors and administrators and psychologists and law enforcement together to stop that threat and stop the threatening behavior at the earliest inception, so it doesn't go down that pathway of violence. And if we can do that, then we have great opportunity. Then we stop, the potential violence for a school shooting, for school fights, for any number of violent issues. And sometimes it's really kids that are just struggling. They need help and hope. And every student needs a kind, caring, trusted adult. So sometimes it's understanding what they're going through in their lives and then putting services in place around them to help them get to the other side where they're successful. But most importantly, it's about managing the threat so an attack doesn't happen and every student and every educator in that building is safe.
Absolutely. And why are we seeing a shift from being reactive to threats to being proactive to threats?
So it's a really good question. I've responded to 7 school shootings in my career, and I've worked thousands of threats, and it's exhausting. And when you have to respond, you're never winning. For 25 years, we've been dealing with this thing of school violence, of school shootings. 25th anniversary of Columbine is coming up. And for 25 years, we've been trying to figure this out. And what we're figuring out is when you respond, you've already lost. No matter how good your response is, the bad thing has happened. So let's get ahead of it. Let's prevent it. Let's change behavior. Let's address the issue. Let's have the conversation. Let's manage the threat so that that threat doesn't ever reach fruition. If we do that, then we win and the kids win. And I've worked with too many parents of murdered children, and I've worked with too many kids that have been in school shootings that are forever changed. And it's so much better to live in the world of prevention than live in the world of tragedy. If you're living in the world of tragedy, that is hard living. You live in the world of prevention, you have opportunity for success and hope and help. And that's where we want to live.
That's amazing. And what training and professional development opportunities do you believe are essential for these educators to effectively recognize and respond to these early signs?
Well, that's really what we're talking about today is the warning signs. How to pay attention to the behavior changes, how to pay attention to the importance of engaging with parents and helping parents understand that the behavior that their student is involved in is not okay. And the number one issue that we see when we do a threat assessment and that student is actually going down that pathway to violence is enabling parents. So we really need parents to be a good partner. They are critically important in everything that we do. And it's hard because it's your child and you want to protect your child. At the same time, your child is engaged in really risky behavior, threatening behavior. We need you to be our mission partner to focus on how do we stop that threat. And then how do we provide the supports so your student becomes successful.
And in your opinion, what role do these teachers and staff play in fostering a supportive and open environment that encourages other students to communicate their concerns about other students who they might see?
It's the $1 million question right there. So people say school safety is expensive. I tell them it's not. It doesn't cost a single dollar to build a climate and culture of safety. It doesn't cost a single dollar to be a kind, caring, trusted adult for a student. And no student should ever have to come to school and feel intimidated, threatened, harassed, bullied. That's our job as adults. We have to be good detectors and disruptors. And it is so important that we, as educators and school safety professionals and school resource officers, help kids understand what it means to be a good citizen, what it means to protect yourself and your friends around you. And we have this amazing program in Missouri called Courage to Report. Our kids can call anonymously and report an incident, and Courage to Report will let the school know, and when appropriate, they'll let law enforcement know, and we'll work the problem together, fix the problem. And when we do that, we build trust with the kids, that they feel like they can trust us with their concerns. But here's the important part for the school. The kids know before an adult ever will when there's a problem. They know when something's going on. They see it before we will. So if we build trust with our kids, they'll tell us about the issues, and then we have to fix it. That's up to us. So we can't live in a world of denial, and we certainly can't live in this world of it can't happen here. This can't happen here. It's happening somewhere every week in this country.
And what are some of the behaviors that you guys have discussed over the two-day summit to recognize?
Well, that's a really good question. So I think some of the behaviors that we focus on are kids isolating. Are they becoming more withdrawn? Is their behavior changing? Do they have a fascination in school violence of past tragedies? Are they fascinated with guns? I'm not talking about curious, about guns. That's appropriate. But I'm talking about a fascination and a fixation. These are all warning signs, and we should pay attention to them. Are they engaging in behavior where, they're now acting out, they're now making threats? Because if they are, then we have to address it immediately. If we don't have that red line, and we allow that behavior to really escalate, then that's on us. We're just perpetuating the problem. So, are students self-medicating? Drugs and alcohol involved? Online activity. If you're seeing a student that is so connected to a device and no longer connected to people, we need to pay attention to that. And that's really become problematic in the last few years. Social media is not helping any of this. So there's a lot that goes into it. The warning signs are pretty clear, but those are just a few of them. And, suicidal ideation. Kids that are expressing a fear of no future, a fear of no hope. Kids that are angry and acting out, and you see that escalation. Pay attention to that. And then address it. Call the school, let your teacher know, let the administration know, let your counselor know. And the reverse is true. When schools see that behavior, we gotta let parents know, because every parent needs to know what's happening. And I think that's so critical that we're partners in this response.
And for Missouri, how do you see